OSM is on the air.
Shall we begin?
Here's Lonnie.
Oh, here I am again.
Let's begin now. Okay, I decided I was going to go over what I had just done live on Facebook. I did a session to try to help explain some of the new changes that are going to happen on Facebook beginning tomorrow. So I've been doing an awful lot of research and talking to several people online, and I have some things that I have found out that I want to pass along. The first thing I want to say, though, I am not an attorney. I have no legal background whatsoever, and I am just kind of telling you what I have heard from others and what I have discerned from having read all the information that Facebook has given us so far. For those who got the original notification from Facebook, it seems that they did a little bit of an update just this week on kind of trying to straighten things out a little bit or trying to make things sound a little bit better, because they realized that they'd sent everybody into a panic. There were some people who had already left Facebook because of all of this, and I would like to try to prevent that as much as possible, because Facebook has an awful lot to offer us as musicians. But I will be speaking about that too as I go along. Anyway, I wrote out this whole thing, so I'm going to go a lot slower than what I did the first time, and hopefully you'll be able to get a lot better information from what I'm going to do this time, okay? So as most of you know, starting on October 1st, Facebook is going to start implementing some brand new, well, actually they're not brand new, but they're going to start enforcing some of the rules that they have made about music on Facebook. And so I'm going to read you what I have written down here. So I'm going to sound a little static here for a little while, but I want to make sure and get everything in that I possibly can. By the way, I am Londi Benson, and I am the hostess for Open Stage Musicians. I started it back first part of May, I think it was. And we're now up to over 1,400 people, in which I appreciate every one of you who are members of my group. And for those of you who are not members of my group, you can find us at www.facebook.com/groups/openstagemusicians. Like everyone else who received the initial publication about new rules for Facebook, I was in a confused panic about just what these new rules would mean, not only to me as an artist, but to our group, Open Stage Musicians. From the way the original note was written, I assumed it meant that all music in any form was not going to be allowed on Facebook, but you could still go live, and I don't know what you would do, but it said you could still go live. And then it said, if you go live, you could not have any music from any source playing in the background from your radio or computer, or you could possibly be muted or banned from the live streaming or actually lose your Facebook account. And I was a little bit mortified by that, to say the least. After reading numerous articles and watching endless videos on YouTube from Facebook users who are much more informed and in the music industry as well, I've come to some of my own interpretations of the meanings of all of this. Let's get to the meat of what I've been reading and understanding. If you have any questions, you can write me at openstagemusicians@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible with answers. Or I will let you know that I do not know, and I will find them out for you. So, the first thing I really learned from all of my investigation of Facebook rules is that there's a backstory on why this has all come about. Mainly, it seems this was fueled by the COVID-19 pandemic and the amount of people who have been stuck at home and resorted to Facebook surfing and presenting their own assortment of shows made up in their own front rooms. While the rules have been in place for a long time and updated frequently, there seemed to be a vast amount of people who actually chose to use Facebook in a capacity similar to Spotify or Apple Music, which basically streams live music or music by original artists for long periods of time, and even more specifically, people who would just put up a photo of the artist or group and then play entire albums, or would slide from one song to another and just change the photo. If you're playing music by the original artists in a live streaming format, that is not allowed by Facebook, and it has not been allowed at any time. If people just play song after song from their own computers or line up a series of songs, even from YouTube, they are infringing upon the rights of the original performers. However, what really caused the furor was when these self-proclaimed DJs were asking for donations for playing these songs. That is a huge no-no. No one owns the rights to the songs besides the original artists in any form, and that means you cannot ask for money for playing another artist's songs. That said, here are the best things I can tell you about how this change is going to affect our members of Open Stage Musicians, and hopefully people who may tune in to listen to this as a podcast will also get some information that you may not be aware of if you are a member of Facebook. First, music in stories or live band artist performances are permitted. So anyone with original music who played live online and saved it to be put upon a page like OSM definitely has the right to do that. Now here's the only catch to that original music part. If you have your music registered with ASCAP BMI, or if it's on Spotify or Apple or any other professional music agency, you may still receive a warning about your music. Now you're asking why. It's because these songs would require payment back to ASCAP BMI or to whatever company that you may be signed up with. Now you're asking why. It's because these songs are being tracked by an algorithm which in fact pays you, the originator, for the songs to be played. Unfortunately, the algorithm cannot tell who you are. All it knows is that your song is being played, and it will flag that song, possibly muting it or completely removing it from the page. That's for your protection, but it's a real pain if you're the one trying to play your own songs. If your songs are not registered with any agency, you will have no problem in performing those songs, and you won't be flagged because Facebook's algorithm doesn't recognize your song. I don't pretend to know how the algorithm works. I know I've had many of the songs from our OSM members that have been removed, and then they say it was removed by the owner of the group. Well, I'm the owner of the group, and I have no prior notification that any song is being removed. It's just gone. Okay, moving on. Receiving donations for cover songs will be policed. I don't know if they're tracking the words Venmo, PayPal, but if those words hit and are traced and they find out that you are taking donations for songs that do not belong to you, that you did not write, they can remove your account, they can block you, ban you, or take whatever steps necessary that they want to do, including it up to litigation, depending on what the circumstance is. Generally what you do is sing live and sing cover songs live. That seems to be okay from everything I've been reading. It's the asking for the donations that will get you into trouble. Earlier, I referred to having music played in the background while you're doing a live feed. More than one person actually referred to the fact that they even had video games playing in the background, and then if they put them on hold to speak with their audience, actually stop the action of gaming, and the music from the video game is playing in the background, it's covered by copyright, and that too can cause muting or banning or removal of a live feed. Here's one issue I haven't found an answer for. If one of my members actually posts one of their songs on my OSM group, I am not sure if I am responsible for their posting it or if they are responsible for what they post. Usually by the time I see any song that's brand new, I immediately see if it is muted or pulled or whatever, but I don't know for what reason. I always try to let the people know when this has happened and ask you to choose another song. Now I'm just not sure what that new outcome will be. The new rule says that there should always be motion in your video, like you singing a song, okay? That refers to the first thing I told you was no longer can you put up a solid photo of yourself and play your song with it, okay? You have to either show yourself on camera, have a video that plays while your song is playing, but you cannot just put up a photo of grandkids or trees or dogs or whatever and play your song with it. I'm not sure about the slideshow. It might be exempt because it is actually showing movement of sorts with the different pictures. However, I would take it that that is not their intention at all, and that only a live video of you singing the song will be acceptable. You can't just put up a picture and put a song with it. Now, I think SingSnap is going to be exempt, and that's only because basically you take the URL from your song on SingSnap and you paste it into a comment on our group. But then what happens is the person who wants to listen to your song clicks on the link that you provide and that takes you to SingSnap to listen to the song. Your song is not actually on Facebook, and so it sends you to the site where you have paid money to sing that cover song. Now, my question is about Smule, however, because what happens with Smule is, on my site anyway, it's usually almost looks like a live video immediately, which is okay, generally speaking, and especially if you are not asking for any donations for having put that song there. But you never post a song from Smule that has no video with it. Or if it has like a nice scene of birds or something, you can't do that anymore. You have to make sure that you're putting it up with you singing it. Even I have to change one of the basic rules that I started out with on OSM, and that was that as long as you are singing, that's all I care about. You don't have to put up a picture of yourself or a video of yourself. And now that requirement is going to change. Every song that goes on to OSM needs to have either you singing it from whatever source it is, whether it's from whatever karaoke platform that you use. So bottom line on it is, you either have a running video that plays with the song, or show yourself singing along with the song. You can no longer just put up a photo of yourself and then have the music in the background of your photo, because that's basically what they're complaining about. Okay, I got to tell you, this has been going on for an awful long time. There's been changes all along with Facebook. When I first started on Facebook back in the Stone Age, you actually had to look at a set of photos to identify people, and then you had to be able to identify their children or some relative of theirs to prove that you actually know the person you were trying to be friends with, and it was horrible. But what Facebook says, it was never meant to be a site for what has become the normal for all musicians. You play your music and you do live shows. They intended it to be more like a Twitter on steroids, where conversations about family or politics could be expressed in a larger format or a longer format, because Twitter used to be 188 characters and that was it. It made for long passages of information from Twitter. So Facebook's challenge was to figure out a way to have people talk about politics, religion, children, whatever, catch up with your family. But you could have a larger format in order to have those discussions. Here's the next bit of information for you. The longer the show, the more songs you have in a live set, the likelier it is that you will be flagged for overusage of the platform. They say keep the songs to a smaller number, and that means all live shows that I would have ordinarily done on Facebook that lasted over an hour or so will no longer be possible. More than likely, I would be muted, or they might actually end my show due to too many songs. Yeah, it sucks. However, you might want to consider taking your live performances to YouTube or Twitch or TinyChat or several other countless live formats. If you have problems with one, go to another and just let your fans know where you moved to and why. So one new thing they say they are going to do on Facebook is to actually notify you about why exactly your song was pulled. I definitely hope so. At least on YouTube, they'd say someone in Botswana has rights to the song, or it can't be played for political or religious reasons in some countries, and that they will partially mute your songs. That means if I play 10 songs and one of the songs is muted in Botswana, chances are they will allow it to be played in other African countries. It's not only copyright, it's political rights. It gets very, very complicated. One thing I want to tell you is do not give up. The best advice I heard during all of this investigation about what's going to happen is don't change a thing that you're doing right now, except for one thing. And that is, if you are putting up something that says that you would like contributions, that will get you in trouble. If your video or song is blocked or muted, they say they will contact you even during your live show with some kind of a message that will pop up and tell you exactly what rule you may have violated and what you need to do to get back online with your show. The worst part of the so-called new rules is that you won't know what you've done wrong until you do it. And that part sucks. But one of the long-standing rules that Facebook has had is if you don't follow their rules, then you have the possibility of being banned for a period of time, being muted for a period of time, or you could actually be banned from Facebook forever. So those are some of the questions that I hope I have answered for you. If you have questions, like I said, I've been trying to keep up on all this as much as I possibly can, and I know that there's going to be brand new information coming out in the next few days because tomorrow is when all of this takes place, October the 1st. For those of you who didn't know that, you might want to check that. The other thing you might want to check is if you have things that are online that you have been keeping there that have reference to donations on it, or PayPal or Venmo or any of that, you may want to go to your songs and remove that information about Venmo or PayPal or some of that, and just let it be your song and you singing it live. The big question came to me about, okay, so what happens if I use something like TuneCore, and if they are the ones who are distributing your songs, your original songs, to all these platforms? Someone asked, can I copy links from a platform to send to OSM? As far as I know, you can still do that. And that is because it is your original song, and TuneCore is aware of it. However, it does not mean that it may not be flagged by Facebook, because as I spoke of earlier, the algorithm, if it picks it up at all because you have it through that kind of a company, then it's going to possibly remove it because it does not know that you are the originator and the owner of that song. Like I say, that's actually to protect you as an artist. But it really sucks when you're the artist and Facebook comes along and they actually remove one of your songs that you've performed yourself and that you wrote yourself. So there are many, many questions still yet to be asked. One of my professional people asked, so do we need to upload unregistered songs to be played on OSM? That's the safest thing to do. But what's going to happen with that is it's going to stifle your ability to really showcase what your talents are if you have to pick and choose from those songs. There are a lot of questions to be answered. And I hope that this little segment of me telling you what I have found out will help you. As I said, most of this information I got from online forums. I also got it from YouTube musicians who know a little bit more about these things than I do, and I compiled all of that information together to give to you. My hope is that this is going to be nothing serious and that we'll just go along with our lives the way that we've been doing on Facebook. But I got a feeling it's changing. And I think it's changing because Facebook does not want to be responsible to all of these recording companies whose artists' music is being used illegally on YouTube and on Facebook. One more thing. All of the information that I just gave you, the same thing applies to Instagram because it is a Facebook company. Any product that is based from Facebook is affected by these rules. I got a late question from someone asking me about Reverb Nation or SoundCloud. Well, again, that's going to be kind of like SingSnap is, because all you're doing is copying the URL and putting it on OSM, and then you go back to either SoundCloud or Reverb Nation to listen to the song. So I think you're going to be exempt that way. Okay, I think I've given you all the information I could possibly give you in a very short amount of time. And if you have more questions, it's like I said, contact me at www.facebook.com/groups/OpenStageMusicians. I'm Londi Benson, and that's where I hang out, and I will be able to answer your questions there. Or you can write me at openstagemusicians@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Okay, folks. I want to thank you for tuning in to me tonight, and I will be off for about 2 weeks, having surgery next Tuesday, and so thank you. Have a great beginning of October. Let's just hope October is much better than September and August and all those other months. Love you bunches. Bye.